The Nobel Peace Prize was handed out recently to some Venezuelan woman that nobody's ever heard of. And that is very much so an accurate description, as the majority of the coverage I've found around her is literally, who the fuck is this person? But we'll get to that in a moment, because the reason why I want to talk about this is of course because I am a Norwegian, and can say with a fair bit of certainty and conviction that the Nobel Peace Prize has become little more than a disgrace and a political tool, as can also be seen by the reactions to it, as the majority of the media's response hasn't been celebrating the winner, but rather going on about how snubbed Donald Trump must feel. Trump's frenzied Nobel Peace Prize demands get brutal snub. Donald Trump is snubbed by Nobel Peace Prize. MAGA steams at Trump's Nobel snub. MAGA has an utter meltdown over Trump Nobel Peace Prize snub. Dozens of them, all with the exact same wording somehow. Even articles like this from The Guardian going, Norway braces for Trump's reaction if he does not win Nobel Peace Prize. As if Trump is somewhere going, I'm going to nuke Norway if you don't give this to me. Nobody's saying this. Take it from me, nobody in Norway is worried about this, and the person they did find who was worried is from the Socialist Left-Wing Party. And I'm not saying that as a derogatory term, even though it is. He's literally from the Socialist Left-Wing Party. That's the name of the man's political party. I'm not kidding. So yeah, it has become a political tool, and it has been one, unfortunately, for a very long time, and one that has also quite possibly been abused for economic gains as well, as it recently became clear that the Nobel Committee had been exposed to some form of espionage, where nobody had put money on this woman on the betting market, and then suddenly, whoop, That tells you pretty much everything you need to know, doesn't it? Nobody believed this woman had an ounce of a chance, and then suddenly, there you go. Right. Very well, but okay. Let's talk about this entire thing, shall we? First and foremost, who is María Corina Machado? As that's been a question on everybody's lips. Well, she is a Venezuelan local politician who, incidentally, said the following: I dedicate this prize to the suffering people of Venezuela and to President Trump for his decisive support for our cause. Oh, well. Well, there you go, I suppose. Okay. So, she is a local politician, and she does indeed seem to have done a lot of good work. She is a key figure for democracy in the country, and she's against the communist regime of Venezuela, or socialist more correctly. So she's a good woman in my book, but that doesn't mean she is worthy of the Nobel Peace Prize, as she has even on previous occasions urged Trump to invade Venezuela and depose the current sitting government. And yet, she was given this Nobel Peace Prize for her tireless efforts in the name of democracy. Yes, the woman who went, hey, Trump, could you bomb that guy over there who's sitting in my chair? Was given the Nobel Peace Prize for her tireless work for democracy. And hey, don't get me wrong, I agree with her, but once more, that does not make her a good candidate. So, Nobel Peace Prize was given to Norway rather than Sweden by Alfred Nobel. You might know that there are several other Nobel Prizes in things like math and physics, for example, that are handed out in Sweden. Alfred Nobel himself was Swedish, but he viewed Norway as inherently, or automatically, morally superior to Sweden. And I'm only half joking. As Norway back then was viewed as a country with a near uniquely strident commitment to peace. We were viewed as in this particular arena, almost uniquely well suited to determine who was and who was not championing the cause of peace. And that became a thing that Norway was quite famous for quite a few decades thereafter. These days, not so much, as was proven quite fucking categorically in 2009, when the prize was most infamously granted to Barack Hussein Obama. After he had been in office for 8 months, he had done nothing, and he showed up at the Nobel Committee and spoke in favor of military intervention and of bombing his enemies at the Nobel fucking Peace Prize. I mean, I admire the balls on the man, if nothing else. And so, what was he given the prize for? Hope for a better future. He was quite literally, not figuratively, not exaggerately, literally given the Nobel Peace Prize for being black and in the White House, as the hope would be that he would encourage racial harmony in America, that him just being the correct color in the correct chair would somehow make the world a better place and calm everyone down. This was a genuine fucking insult to Alfred Nobel on many, many levels, as whilst we were once indeed worthy of curating the Peace Prize, that is an honor and a responsibility that we have failed to live up to again and again. And the supposed criteria, as you can see here, it has been awarded annually, with some exceptions, to people who have done the most or the best work for fraternity between nations, for the abolition or reduction of standing armies, and for the holding and promotion of peace congresses. It's quite explicit. There is no mention in here about hope for the future, about fighting for democracy. And that's a good thing, don't get me wrong, but that's not the Nobel Peace Prize. It is supposed to be for a very, very specific thing, and it hasn't been for years. We have so many examples recently where they are given to, what was the name of the Afghan woman who was given the Nobel Peace Prize for encouraging education amongst girls in the Middle East. Again, I'm all for it, but it isn't fucking peace, now is it? And, okay, let's talk about the Trumpalophagus, shall we? Because there's no secret that Trump does want the prize, and he has certainly had a cantankerous little nod at it here and there, going, oh, if they really did care, they'd give it to me. And, well, the thing is, he's right. He's genuinely, unironically, fucking right. When Trump was in office, 4 years, there were no wars. The world was, as much as it ever has been, at peace. Biden comes in, and we've got fucking live-fire exercises spurting out all over the place. Like, do you think Ukraine and Russia would have popped up under this man? Not a fucking chance in hell. Every world leader was scared shitless that one day he'd push the button just to see if it fucking worked. Unironically, he was one of the leading forces for peace, and even now, he made his bloviating statement about having settled 7 wars. Now, that is certainly an exaggeration, but America was behind the Thailand-Cambodia ceasefire, absolutely. What was this one? Nigerian nations, Rwanda and Congo. Again, America. The conflict between Israel and Iran, which was only heating up, was also categorically settled by American bunker busters. I mean, you can hate Trump all you want, I don't care, but there is simply no argument whatsoever against the fact that he has done far more for peace than María Corina Machado, than Barack Obama. There simply is no argument against it. And if the Nobel Peace Committee was truly a neutral entity, as it was supposed to be, then they would recognize that. But the problem is, the Nobel Peace Committee has also been declared by Alfred Nobel to be made up of individuals chosen by the Norwegian parliament. Now that was a great idea back in the 1900s, when the Norwegian parliament was primarily for peace. It had dick all international motivations. It was fucking Norway in the 1900s. We hadn't even found oil yet. We had zero political aspirations anywhere beyond growing more potatoes so we didn't fucking starve. Now, however, well, basically, the only reason why Barack Obama was given the award was because certain members of certain Norwegian political parties wanted to have dinner with the man. We've even heard this afterwards, admitted by the people in question. As, of course, what does the Norwegian parliament do? Does it simply appoint the most neutral and knowledgeable individuals? Does it make sure that there is a balanced group of experts on this panel? No, it appoints near exclusively professional fucking politicians. Again, I'm sure María Corina has done a lot of good, and I'm sure she's a lot better person than Barack Obama, definitely. But no matter how you slice it, according to the criteria put down by Alfred Nobel for the awarding of the prize, it's Trump. There simply is no other way around it. If you can find me another man in the last year or so that has actually ended a war, then go ahead. And you can argue, oh, but you don't know if the peace will last. Fair enough. Oh, but maybe he didn't do anything. Okay. Oh, but in the last 4 years it was coincidence. All right, but the man has a track record. And if that is the argument, will we see Trump be given a Nobel Peace Prize at the end of his tenure? And if those arguments are really true, why did Barack Obama get one after 8 months? Etc., etc. Again, the Nobel Peace Prize has become a sham. It has become nothing more than an empty, pathetic virtue signal, handed out on a whim, rather than in the spirit of which it was granted to Norway and to keep it in its custody. It is a shame, both of Norway, the Nobel Peace Prize, and of Alfred Nobel's memory as well. Until next time, I've been Arch. Thank you all very much for watching, and I do hope to see you all again soon.